We're good to go? Well set there, Ms. Noble? Okay. All right. Well, it is 2:00. Welcome, everybody. We'll call the meeting to order. I'm Deputy Mayor Tom Hutchinson. I'm the Chair of the Committee of Adjustments. And under item number 1 today, we can call it to order. Like I said, it is 2 p.m. This is the October 7th, 2025 Committee of Adjustment meeting. We do have quorum as all members are here, minus Member Townsend, who has regrets for today with some personal matters that he's taken care of. We will go right on to this meeting. There we go. Sorry, I just had to get caught up. So for this meeting, we're using both audio and video. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the West Grey website at www.westgrey.com. The technology for this meeting is being managed by the West Grey staff. Please refrain from clicking buttons throughout the meeting unless prompted. Of course, that's who's attending virtually. Before we continue, I'm asking Communications Coordinator Ms. Noble to provide an overview of some of the key points for the meeting. Ms. Noble?
Thank you, and through you, Chair Hutchins. Before I begin, at any point, if you get disconnected, you can dial 1-647-558-0588 and enter the ID for this meeting, which is 891-5626-2480. For members of the public, if you require any technical assistance, please send a chat message to West Grey Communications and I will attempt to assist you.
Thank you. Item number 2 is purpose of the meeting. Planner Smith, please provide your comments.
Mr. Chair, the purpose of today's Committee of Adjustment meeting is to present 5 minor variance applications, being A11-2025 New Life Mills, A08-2025 for Dorrant, A10-2025 for Brusso, A11-2025 for Risk, and A13-2025 for Becker. Public meetings will allow interested members of the public the opportunity to ask questions or to offer comments regarding an application. The sign notifying the public of an application was posted on the subject property, circulated via mail to those persons within 60 meters of the property and to prescribed agencies as required by the Planning Act. A public registry is available here in the council chambers for those attending a public meeting in person who wish to speak to the Committee of Adjustment. As noted by our Communications Coordinator, Ashley Noble, participation in a public meeting can also be done online. Changes to the Planning Act restrict the right to appeal a decision of the Committee of Adjustment to prescribed persons and agencies. Neighboring property owners no longer have the right to appeal any decision of the Committee of Adjustment. If you wish to receive notice of the decision of the Committee of Adjustment on any application presented today, please provide your name and mailing address to the municipality of West Grey in writing.
Planner Smith. Okay, item number 3 is disclosure of interest pecuniary members. Do you have anything to declare? Of course, one should arise during the meeting. We all know that we could declare at that time. So seeing none, I will move on to item number 4, and that's the approval of the minutes. 4.1 is approval of the minutes from the September 2nd, 2025 Committee of Adjustment hearing. And the recommendation would be that the Committee of Adjustments hereby approves the minutes of the September 26, 2025 meeting. Can I get a mover, please? Member Eccles, thank you, sir. Seconded by Member Hutchinson. Thank you. Comments, questions, errors, omissions, anything on the minutes, folks? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor, you can just raise your hands. See all members in favor, none opposed. So that motion has carried. So moved by Member Eccles, seconded by Member Hutchinson. Okay, so that'll move us right along to the first application today. That's item number 5. It's application number A05-2025-122019, concession 8. 5.1 is report from the planning staff. And if I get Planner Smith to please provide your comments on A05-2025, including any written or verbal comments you've received up to the start of this meeting. Planner Smith, sir, go ahead.
Mr. Chair, Committee, as you mentioned, application 05-2025, New Life Mills, represented by Dom Construction. This application has been before the Committee of Adjustment prior meeting. It has been amended to recognize some deficiencies, mistakes in the earlier application, and therefore is being brought forward as an amended application as provided to the committee. There is a proposed construction of one new livestock barn and a rich cage layer barn. I ask Ashley if we can go to page 20 of 76 in the PDF, please. Shown in the council chambers and online is the Schedule A site plan for New Life Mills Dawn construction with the proposed existing barns and barn number 3 and number 4 on the left-hand side of the screen on the property as noted. As I mentioned, only barn number 4 is subject to this particular application, and it is an application for reduction in the minimum distance separation 2 calculations between a livestock barn and a budding or nearby residences. We go to the next page, please, Ashley, page 21. This diagram here shows the 2 dwellings on abutting properties, one across the road to the south and one to the west. The barn areas you can see on the existing property and in the purple what we're talking about, but in respects to today's application, it is MDS 2 calculations to the 2 dwelling units. There are 2 dwellings, as I mentioned, dwelling 1 to the west, dwelling 2 to the south. The property is designated as agriculture and hazard in the Grey County official plan with another wetlands constraint on the lot. And both the County of Grey Planning Ecologist and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority have no concerns. As I mentioned, a previous report was brought forward to Committee of Adjustment on July 8th, 2025, and deferred at that time. Circulated the applications internally to various agencies, West Grey Public Works, Building, Fire. They have no concerns. The County of Grey, no concerns. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, no concerns. We did receive comments from the public, one from Olivia Cozella, owner of Dwelling 1, and a letter to West Grey Committee of Adjustment dated September 8, 2025, indicating that the Cozella family has no further concerns regarding the proposed MDS reduction. The second letter from Matt Jacobs, Pioneer Creek Farms, Dwelling number 2, a letter to the West Grey Committee of Adjustment dated August 11th, 2025, indicating that M. Jacobs has no further concerns regarding the proposed MDS reductions. There's been no additional comments received as of September 12, 2025, when the report was uploaded, or since that date to today. Reviewed the application versus the provincial planning statement and versus the 4 minor variance tests of the Planning Act. The 4 tests are: is the variance minor? Is the variance desirable for the appropriate development of use of land, buildings, and structures? Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? And the 4th test is, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? And is it maintained? I reviewed all 4 of the tests and find that the application does meet those particular concerns. This application, as I mentioned, is about an MDS reduction to 2 dwelling units. Overall, these are very tough types of applications to deal with when there's various items in play. In this particular case, the existing barn structures that already existed on the property and their proximity to the houses, the ability to move new barns, and then implications for taking more farmland out of production in some cases with longer roads, large handling areas, and so on and so forth. And also the fact that, believe it or not, if they were to wait 3 years from the building the last barn, they wouldn't need a minimum distance separation reduction at all because of the way the calculations are set up. However, in this particular case, the applicants, New Life Mills, wish to move forward with the new building number 4, barn number 4, before the expiry of the 3 years, and therefore asking for the reduction as provided in the planning report. As I mentioned, reviewed the 4 tests. We do find the application does meet the 4 tests, and therefore we recommend the Committee of Adjustment to consider the recommendations that are provided in the planning report. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. So we'll move on to verbal comments under 5.2, and there's 2 parts to this one. Under 5.2.1 will be the committee comments. Then once we conclude that, then we will turn it over to the public, going virtually first, and then anybody that's in attendance here who would like to speak to that. So under 5.2.1, committee, any comments, questions? Go ahead, Member Shea.
Did I understand correctly that you said the owners of the 2 neighboring dwellings both submitted letters saying they had no objections?
That's correct. That's what's mentioned in the planning report.
Hello? Good, okay. Any other questions? Okay, that concludes the committee comments on 5.2.1. Now we'll go to 5.2.2, and again, I'm going to ask Ms. Noble to provide an overview on how members that are participating virtually can attend. And then once we've gone through that, just let me know if anybody would like to speak, and if not, then we'll check in attendance here. Ms. Noble?
Members of the public joining virtually wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting may do so in one of two ways. If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking on the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Grade Communication. Thank you.
Yeah, nobody virtually has any comments or questions on it? Is there anybody in attendance here that has any comments or questions you'd like to make a statement on this application? Okay, seeing none, then that will conclude the comment period. And that will take us on to 5.3, and that's the decision by the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? And we do have the recommendation, sorry, as put on the today's agenda that's been posted and circulated. Go ahead, Member Noon. Oh, microphone, yeah, there you go.
That we accept the recommendation outlined in the report.
Thank you. Moved by Member Noon, seconded by Member Eccles. You second that, sir? Okay, thank you. Is everyone clear on the recommendation? Any comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, just raise your hand, please. I see all members in favor, none opposed. So that motion has carried. I'll take us to item number 5.4. And Planner Smith, what would be the next step, sir?
Planning Department will issue a notice of decision. Prescribed agencies and other government bodies would have the opportunity to determine whether or not they are in agreement with the decision, and if they wish to file an appeal. If there's no appeal issued, the decision will come into force and effect after the appeal period, and the applicant can move forward with a finalized building permit.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, that concludes number 5. Next application is under 6 is A08-2025-156 Pine View Drive. And 6.1 is report from planning staff, Planner Smith. And if you could provide your comments on A08-2025, including any written or verbal comments you received up to the start of today's meeting. Planner Smith, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Propose the application, A08-2025 for Durant, proposes an accessory building with a maximum floor area of no more than 14.9 square meters in size to be located in the front yard of the lot on a 0.77 hectare lot at 156 Pineview Drive. Ashley, I'm going to ask you to go to page 32 in the report. Shown online in the council chambers is a Schedule A for the Durant application showing the existing dwelling and a red square on the property, which is the proposed accessory shed building to be proposed in the front yard and located along the interior side yard. You can go to the next page 2, please. 33. 33 shows an aerial of the property. The shed would be located out towards Pineview Drive, right along the side of the driveway in the front yard on the left-hand side of the circle. On the very bottom picture shows the gravel pile is the rough location of the of where the Durant shed would be located when it goes in. It's really tough to kind of tell. We don't have a really good street view of this, but that's the approximate locations that we're looking at. As I said, included the schedule on the top. The lot is designated as rural hazard and wetlands in the Grey County official plan with a significant woodlands constraint. The lot is zoned ER in state residential, natural environment, and natural environment 2. The accessory building would be located within 120 meters of the provincially significant wetland area zoned as NE2. The accessory building itself would be located approximately 65 meters from the NE2. The Grey County ecologist determined an environmental impact study is not required for the development. Saginaw Valley Conservation Authority has no concerns with the proposed development. The lot is currently subject to an H holding as per section 620.5 Natural Environment Holding Provisions, which applies an automatic hold to all properties within 120 meters of any two zone. That portion of the considerations of the zoning bylaw are not in front of the Committee of Adjustment at this time. Right now, the issue is solely the location of the accessory building in the front yard. We circulated the application internally to Public Works and West Gray Building and Fire with no concerns. As I mentioned, the County of Gray's reviewed the application and the planning ecologist has determined an environmental impact studies not required. Saginaw Valley Conservation Authority finds the application accepted. We received no comments as of September 25th, 2025. The application was uploaded to the West Gray website, and we received no concerns from the public, written or verbally, since that date. Reviewed the application versus the provincial planning statement and versus the four tests of a minor variance. The four tests of a minor variance are: is the variance minor? Is the variance desirable for the appropriate development of use of land, building, or structures? Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? And the last test is, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? Like I said, I've reviewed all four of the particular tests and find that the application does meet them. In this particular case, the ability to locate the shed accessory building in the rear yard is constrained by a number of how these lots are set up in Forest Creek overall. Forest Creek sits in the middle of basically a provincially significant wetland with wetlands all around it, significant woodlands all around it. And some of the lots have some slopes at the back that make access to the rear areas where their septic systems and so on and so forth relatively difficult. It limits in some respects the ability of some of property owners to put sheds in their rear yard. In this particular case, the request is for the front yard in a location as shown on the schedule. And with a approximately 3.7 to 4.7 meter setback to the interior side lot line. It is certainly not the ideal situation for anybody who lives in any neighborhood to have their accessory buildings out in the front yard, but in this particular case and in other lots in Forest Creek and other places in West Gray, sometimes the lot configuration, the buildings themselves, the amount of buildable area outside of the natural environment and hazard areas is somewhat constrained. In this particular case, with those particular limitations and the ability still to have a small shed, this particular shed is under 160 square feet in size and will be restricted to that, gives us very little opportunities for other locations if they're to have a shed at all. And I think that's basically where we're at. It's either no shed at all or pretty much almost the location where we're looking at. In that regard, like I said, I mentioned we reviewed the applications versus the four tests of the minor variance. Find it does meet the four tests and therefore recommend as provided in the recommendation to the Committee of Adjustment. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, item 6.2, 6.2.1, committee comments. Committee members, do you have anything comments, questions on this application? Or return it to the public or agents? Okay, seeing none, then we'll go to 6.2.2. And again, I'm going to ask Ms. Noble to provide an overview for anybody that's attending virtually, how they can participate. And if you let us know if anybody is in the queue to talk. Go ahead, please.
Members of the public joining virtually wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting may do so in one of two ways. If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Gray Communication. Thank you.
Nobody? No? Thank you. Is there anybody in attendance today who would like to speak to this application? Okay. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, then we will conclude the comment period on that application. And we will go to 6.3, which is the decision by the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? And again, the recommendation is on the agenda. Member Hutchinson?
I'd like to move that we accept the recommendation as per our planner.
Thank you. Member Forster, are you going to second that? Thank you. Everyone clear on the recommendation? It's again, it's all the description and all details are on the agenda. Any comments, questions before we call the vote? Okay, call the vote. All those in favor, you can just raise your hand, please. I see all members are in favor, none opposed, so that motion is carried. And under item 6.4, Planner Smith, what would be the next step, sir?
Planning Department issue a notice of decision from the Committee of Adjustment. Will give the relevant agencies and government bodies the opportunity to appeal the decision if they're not in accordance or agreement with where the Committee of Adjustment is done. After the appeal period, the applicant can move forward with the shed location. There's no building permit associated with this particular development, so it's just straight out location requirement on it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that concludes number 6. Third application is item number 7. That's application number A10-2025-121463, concession 8. 7.1 is report from the planning staff. Again, Planner Smith, you can provide your comments on A10-2025. And again, that would include any comments received up to the start of today's meeting. Planner Smith, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, 810-2025 for Russo. The application proposes the construction of a new liquid manure storage facility for dairy with a floating permanent cover. Ashley, if I ask you to page 45, please. Shown on screen in the council chambers and online is the sketch for a 810-2025 showing a proposed manure storage for a dairy operation, approximately 224 meters from the nearest neighbor's house to the southeast. And this particular application is a request for a reduction in MDS2, similar to an application heard earlier this afternoon for a chicken barn, but this one is in relationship to a manure storage facility. The single house is the only dwelling sensitive use that has an MDS issue in this particular case, only the one. So as I mentioned, there's one dwelling, number 1, owned by Newman to the east. The property is designated as agriculture and hazard in the County Gray official plan. There are no environmental constraints on the property. Circulated the application internally to West Gray Public Works Building Fire with no concerns. The County of Gray has no concerns, and the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority has no concerns. There have been no comments received as of September 26, 2025, when the report was uploaded to the West Gray website, and no comments verbally or written since that time also. Reviewed the application versus the provincial planning statement and versus the 4 tests of a minor variance. The 4 tests of a minor variance are: is the variance minor? Is the variance desirable for the appropriate development of use of land, building, or structure? Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? And the 4th test is, does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? We reviewed the application versus those 4 particular tests and find that the application in this particular case does meet the 4 tests overall. The application is, however, contingent upon the manure storage structure using a permanent floating cover. The MDS calculations and guidelines provided by the province recognizes that when you cover something, either with a roof or in this particular case, a floating cover, think of it as a tarp, think of it as a roof, it can be any number of things allowed, that reduces the smell component of liquid manure in general. This application must have, in order to meet the setback requirements proposed, a permanent floating cover, and that reduces the setback significantly from if the manure tank was just open to the air. There will still be smells and so on and so forth associated with the liquid manure storage. There's no doubt about it. And even more so during times when the storage is empty with agitation and so on and so forth and pumping. But in general, MDS2 looks at the permanent structure, not during those special times. Here we're reducing the MDS setback from 243 meters to 224 meters, a reduction of about 7.84. There is an existing solid manure storage on the property, approximately 160 meters from dwelling number 1. That's proposed to be replaced using the liquid storage overall, accommodating a number of barns. In many respects, we're getting better in that we're further away. We're also going from solid to liquid, so maybe a little bit of half one, half dozen of another. Overall, we don't believe that there'll be a adverse impact on dwelling number one. There will be an impact, like any time we live in an agricultural area. As I mentioned, overall is that we do require the permanent structure, permanent cover on the manure storage, and that is included within the conditions of approval for so that the building permit itself or whatever takes that into consideration forever how we come about doing so. Overall, like I said, I mentioned, we find the application meets the four tests, and therefore we move that the recommendations provided in the report be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. 7.2, here we have verbal comments. And again, we're going to start 7.2.1 with committee members. Committee members, you have any comments, questions on this application? We'll return to the public agents. Okay. And then that'll conclude that. Now we're going to go to 7.2.2, public comments. And once again, we're going to go back to Ms. Noble to explain the reason we keep doing this over and over in case anybody's jumped on virtually that is not heard. So we want to repeat that so they have the ample opportunity to speak to the application. So Ms. Noble, if you could just let us know if anybody is in the queue to speak and let them know how they can participate if they are.
If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to Westray Communications.
White day today with the rain outside. Okay. Is there anybody in attendance today that would like to speak to this application? Once or twice? Okay. Seeing none, that will conclude the comment period. And that'll take us to 7.3, decision. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? Again, the recommendation is right on today's agenda. If you want to go with that. I'll be looking for Member Forrester. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'll move the recommendation as laid out in the planner's report.
Thank you, Member Forrester. Seconder, please. Member Noon, you're going to second that? Thank you. Comments or questions before we call the vote on the recommendation? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. I see all members are in favor. None opposed. That too has carried. And that'll take us to item 7.4, and that'll be Planner Smith to let us know what the next steps would be, sir.
Mr. Chair, the Planning Department issue a notice of decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Prescribed agencies and government bodies will have the opportunity to review the decision and determine whether or not they wish to appeal it or not. If there are no appeals, the decision will come into force effect, and the applicants can move forward with their building permit application at that time in satisfying the conditions that are set out in the decision.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, moving along, this takes us to number 8, and that'll be application number A11-2025 444-603 concession 8. And 8.1 will be the report from the planning department. Planner Smith, if you could provide your details on A11-2025 and include any verbal or written comments you received up to the start of today's meeting. Planner Smith, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you mentioned, A11-2025 for risk. There's a proposed 29 square meter, 312 square feet addition to an existing dwelling on a 0.42 hectare lot. Ashley, if you can go to page 59, please. Shown in the council chambers and online is Schedule 8 to the application, showing a proposed addition to 12 by 26 addition to an existing dwelling with a proposed approximately 13 meter setback to the front property line. We go one more page, Ashley, page 60. Page 60, or sorry, showing on line is an aerial of the property. The property we're looking at is the property with the lovely blue pool in the backyard. You can see that in this particular case, it's well shielded from the roadway in terms of trees and from the closest abutting property in that regard. Certainly not sitting in any subdivision and so on and so forth. Context is very important at times when we take a look at where some of our proposed changes are. Property is designated as rural with an aggregate resource area constraint in the County of Gray official plan. There are no sensitive residential uses in close proximity. Closest neighboring house is at least 25 meters away from the proposed addition. Reduced front yard setback and new construction will not interfere with West Grade Road operations on concession 8. Development would be located within 120 meters of 4 natural heritage features. An environmental impact study has not been required by the county planning ecologist. Subject property does not contain any floodplains, watercourses, shorelines, or any other feature of interest to the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. Circulated the application internally to agencies, including West Grade Public Works, Building and Fire, of no concerns. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority, have mentioned, finds the application acceptable. The County of Gray has noted again that an environmental impact study is not required for this application. There have been no comments received as of September 26, 2025, when the application was uploaded to the West Gray website and provided to the Committee of Adjustment. Received no written or verbal comments that time either. Reviewed the application versus the requirements of the provincial planning statement and versus the 4 tests of a minor variance. 4 tests of a minor variance are: is the variance minor? Is the variance desirable for the appropriate development of use or of land, building, or structure? Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? And does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan? I reviewed the 4 tests and find the application does meet those 4 tests. In this particular case, our main concern would have been any setbacks to the right of way for West Grade in order for us to continue to do long-term road maintenance and other improvements if required in the right of way. In this particular case, the building is set way far enough back from that not to have any particular impact. There's more enough driveway and other amenity areas on the property. It's not going to have any impact on that. And again, there'll be no impact to neighboring property owners considering the setback and the shielding between themselves and neighboring property to the east. As I mentioned, overall, we do recommend the application be considered and the recommendations provided in the planning report be accepted. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. 8.2.1 on the agenda, again, verbal comment section. And then 8.2.1 is committee comments. Committee members, have any comments, questions on this application before I turn to the public? Okay. That concludes that one. 8.2.2 public comments and or agents. And again, I'm going to get Ms. Noble to explain to virtually how anybody's participating, virtually how they can participate, and let us know if you have anybody that would like to speak to it.
If you've joined via phone, press *9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, *9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking in the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Grade Communications.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, that'll conclude the comment period. And that takes us to 8.3, decision by the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? Again, the recommendation is on the agenda as presented by the planning staff. I'll be looking for a mover. Member Shea, you're going to move that, sir?
Yes, I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, Member Shea. Seconder, Member Hutchinson. Sir, comments, questions on the recommendation? Seeing none, we'll call the vote. All those in favor, you can just raise your hands. I see all members are in favor. None opposed. That too has, motion has carried. That'll take us to 8.4, and that'll be Planner Smith to provide what the next steps would be. Planner Smith.
Mr. Chair, the planning department will issue a notice of decision for the minor variance from the Committee of Adjustment. Be circulated to various agencies and government departments to determine whether or not they have an interest in appealing decision. If there's no appeals submitted to the decision, then the decision stands and the applicant can come forward after the end of the appeal period to apply for a building permit in accordance with the decision as provided.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Well, that takes us to number 9, and this is the final application on today's agenda. And that is application number A13-2025 422-003, concession 6 NDR. 9.1 is report from planning staff. Again, Planner Smith, you can provide an overview and your comments on A13-2025, including any comments or written submissions you received up to today's start of today's meeting. Planner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you mentioned, A13-2025 for Becker. Proposed reduction in the floor area minimum requirement from 102.2 square meters to 86.2 square meters to permit the use of a mobile home as an accessory residential use. Actually, you can go to page 73, please. Shown online in the council chambers is an aerial view of the Becker property outlined in purple. The mobile home proposed would be going in front of the dwelling unit, which is located towards the rear of the property. In this particular case, it's not the location of the dwelling mobile home, but a requirement for a minimum floor area in the bylaw of 1,100 square feet, and a reduction in this particular case for that. There is, only one other small indication or issue that came up with the property, and that is there is an existing livestock barn across the roadway. From our last set of air photos, they were still in use at that time, and needed to be taken into consideration when we took a look at the application. As I mentioned, it's a reduction from 102.2 square meters to 86.2 to permit the mobile home. Property is designated as agriculture, the Gray County official plan with an aggregate resource area constraint. Property is zoned C635, rural commercial exception, but is not currently being used for rural commercial business. It is a long-standing zoning has been in place for many years. The family uses it for their principal dwelling and does have the opportunity to continue on with the rural commercial business if they wish to in the future, because the zoning still applies. The zoning also does permit to two dwellings, one being the mobile home that we're discussing and the current dwelling unit. As per section 617(1) of the West Gray zoning bylaw, minimum distance separation calculations are not required, as the mobile home is to be erected on a lot existing as of the date of passage of the zoning bylaw, even though there is an existing livestock operation to the south. Circulating the application internally to West Gray Public Works, Building and Fire. There are no concerns to the County of Gray, and no concerns to the Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority. Received no comments as of September 25th, 2025, when the report was uploaded to the West Gray website and provided to the Committee of Adjustment, or received no verbal or written comments since that date also. Reviewed the application versus the requirements of provincial planning statement versus the 4 tests of a minor variance as set out in the Planning Act. Those 4 tests of a minor variance are: is the variance minor? Is the variance desirable for the appropriate development or use of land, building, or structure? Does the variance maintain the general intent and purpose of the bylaw? And does the variance maintain the general purpose of the official plan? Review the application as I mentioned against the 4 tests. Finally, the application does meet those criteria. Therefore, we do recommend, as providing the recommendation, the Committee of Adjustment consider the application for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner Smith. Okay, that'll take us to the verbal comments section under 9.2. Item 9.2.1, committee members. Any comments on this application? Comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, that will conclude that section. 9.2.2 is public comments and or agents. Then I'm going to ask Ms. Noble if you can provide an overview on anybody attending virtually. If they have any comments, questions, if you can let them know how they could participate. At the same time, let us know if anybody has any comments.
If you have joined via phone, press star 9 to raise your hand. This will let us know that you would like to speak. Alternatively, star 9 can also be used to lower your hand. If you have joined virtually, you can either raise your hand by clicking either the blue or yellow hand icon located in the bottom corner of your screen, or by sending a chat message to West Gray Communication.
Okay, nobody's there. Anybody in attendance who would have any comments or questions on this application or would like to speak to it? Seeing none, then that will conclude that comment period. 9.3, and this is the decision by the committee. What direction would the committee like to take with this application? And again, I will say that the recommendation as listed by the planner is right on the agenda, so I'll be looking for a mover. Member Eccles, sir.
I'll move the recommendation as presented.
Thank you, Member Eccles. Seconder, please. Member Shea, you're going to second that. Thank you. Comments or questions on the recommendation? Seeing none, call the vote. All those in favor, you can raise your hand. I see all members in favor, none opposed. That has passed as well. And 9.4, Planner Smith, what will be the next step, sir?
Planning Department will issue a notice of decision to the relevant prescribed agencies and government bodies. Those agencies and bodies will have an opportunity to review the application and decision, determine whether or not they wish to appeal it. If there are no appeals filed by those agencies, the decision will come into effect at the end of the appeal period, and the applicant can move forward with a building permit application for foundation or whatever else is required in order to affect the mobile home.
Planner Smith. And I will say that we went through several applications today, 5 of them, and I will say thank you very much, Planner Smith, for the detailed reports, because it's certainly heavy reading, but it makes the decisions a lot easier when we're sitting here. And with that, takes us to item number 10. That does conclude all the applications today. The next meeting is Tuesday, November 4th, again at 2 p.m. And you can attend in person or you can attend virtually. And item number 11. I will say that all the items on today's agenda are completed. So I will say that the business is completed and we will be standing adjourned at 2